Ooh, another beautiful, beautiful day. Early morning. I got to get up early in the morning. Something was going on in 1926 with the way people were thinking and is reflected in some of the books that came out. So I'm going to review a small book and kind of take a look at what was happening in 1926. It's coming up. All right, so I was going to do this outside, but it's still a little cold, so I'm going to do it here. This one might go a little long. This is a review of a book called Gods in Exile by J.J. Vanderleeuw. It's another small red book. Can't seem to be focusing very well. Anyhow, yeah, you can't really see that. But it's another book that was written in 1926. I've been noticing a pattern in a lot of the books that I happen to own, and also that I've looked into and just come across that are from 1926. Something was going on in 1926 in the mental or subconscious arena. Something was, I guess, inspiring all these authors to start publishing or start researching and start telling people about basically what we know as the law of attraction now, manifestation, that whole arena. And it just seems kind of interesting to me, kind of maybe a little strange, a little interesting that all these different authors, all this was going on about the same time frame. So in the 20s, right? In the roaring 20s, 1926 seemed to be a earmark year for these books and these ideas, which of course aren't new. They're just being rediscovered, and then they fade, and then they come back, like they came back in the 60s and whatnot. They fade, and then we start seeing the whole revival again. I don't know what, 10, 15 years ago with the Secret, and then it seems like in the last couple of years, it's exploded again, like with with authors like Neville Goddard and several others, right? Actually, there's probably a lot more, but a couple off the top of my head that I know that all of a sudden, while I was doing the video for the other book, for the It Works, right? When I was doing the research for that, I noticed that there was a pattern of other authors that were popping up, and some I had read, some I had heard of, others I hadn't. This small one, The Gods in Exile, that I'm going to talk about, I've had that in my personal library for years. Had read it a long time ago, went back and read it again just a few days ago, and I was like, again, this is all same concepts, different take on it, but same concept. So what we're talking about as far as the subconscious mind, or we talk about the law of attraction, things like that. He says it's in his words, it's more a study of the occultism or occult, right? Before y'all get your panties in a wad and start talking about occult, oh my God, that's evil, that's a devil, that's a devil. Slow your roll. Let's find out what the definition of occult is. It comes from the Latin occultus. In Spanish, of course, occulto means hidden. So what does it mean? What does it mean? So my Webster dictionary is from 1985. Okay, side note, if you get your hands on old dictionaries, old encyclopedias, old history books, hold on to them. Okay, there seems to be a trend in changing many things in dictionaries, wording, encyclopedia, facts, stuff like that. And I don't mean uh, just updating uh, as far as time frame goes and invention stuff like that. I'm talking about words, terminology. Okay, you control people's language, you control people's words and what they talk about or how they talk, and then you start controlling their mind. So keep that in the back of your brain. All right, so occult. What does Merriam-Webster say? It says, okay, not revealed, right? Occultus from the Latin occultus, not revealed, secret, not easily apprehended or understood. Mysterious, hidden from view or concealed, right? Not detectable. Matters regarded to the influence of supernatural, supernormal powers, or some secret knowledge of them. So by that definition, a lot of things could be occult. Now remember, in the Middle Ages, you couldn't own a Bible. It was considered hidden knowledge. So by that terminology, the Bible was occult. Again, seeing some of these definitions, they want you to think a certain way, right? I mean, and it doesn't really take a whole lot, right? The first thought when I say the occult or the occultism, what's your first thing you think about, right? Oh, it's evil. Oh, it's witchcraft. Oh, it's this, right? Satanism. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why you think that way. You've been programmed to think that way. Okay? And we hear, like, from the Free Dictionary, magical or hidden, supernatural, mystical, not recognized by religion, witchcraft, divination, magic, Satanism, realm of magic and supernatural, any knowledge or practices of that. Books and knowledge, hidden knowledge. The Vatican has an extensive library. You think it's available to everybody? No. You think there's some things in there that they want to keep hidden to themselves? You're damn right. You know, I'm already talking a lot, but I said it was going to be long, right? Okay, so in this book, he's talking a little bit about the journey of the ego, or your spiritual nature, right? And a theme that many of these teachers, many of these coaches and whatnot always talk about. They say, you know, there is no separation. You know, we're all are one, and that's a theme. And in books and songs and all that, you know, we're one person, right? We're one divine spirit. And let me read a couple of passages from this. This one's on page 53. It says, we never act, we never speak unless we have first thought, first made an image of what we were going to do, first imagined it, right? We're not aware of this, and the workings of the mind are so rapid, and our consciousness is such an unknown territory to us, occult, territory to us, that we do not know the things that happen in it. But when we so much lift our hand, we first think the movement. We make an image of it, and that image being creative is realized in action. Okay, so again, this parallels the teachings of other manifestation gurus or authors that say that your thoughts, you know, create your outside world. The danger of an undisciplined imagination. Okay, consider the example of a man craving for a drink. He knows the misery caused by his weakness. He knows how he wastes his wages and starves his family. And in insane moments, he determines to give it up. Now he passes a place in the street where he can get a drink, sees people go in and out, and perhaps even smells the drink. Up to that moment, he is safe from temptation, safe from struggle. But what happens now? In that short fraction of a second, he imagines himself drinking. He makes a thought image and for the moment lives and acts in that thought image of himself enjoying the drink. He feels how it satisfies his craving, but in reality, it has only increased it and made the ensuing action almost unavoidable. Having created the image, he belatedly calls upon his will and says, I do not want this thing, but it's too late. The struggle is practically futile. Once the thought image has been created, realization and action generally follows. Yeah, I mean that is just the same thing that all these other authors are talking about. You know, years later, decades later, they're still talking about it. Again, this stuff isn't new, right? So he's acting on his creative thought power. There's a lot in this small book. It's only, you know, you see how small it is, 127 pages, but you know it's small, easy to read. It's called Gods in Exile, J.J. Vander Leeuw, LLD. I'm not sure what that is, but okay. So let me pause here, and then I'm going to share the screen and show you a couple of things that were happening in 1926. All right, so let's continue here. I don't need this anymore. Just, you know that I'm not here to do a theological debate nor discussion. I don't want to see a long dissertation in the comments, you know. So this is just just giving you my opinion and whatever knowledge I have from my reading and whatnot. So yeah, so let's leave it at that. All right, so what was happening in 1926? A lot was going on in 1926. This is just a few off of, you can see the eventshistory.com. So right here, so the first rocket launched by Robert Goddard, first commercial flight. See a few other things. There was, I think Queen Elizabeth was born that year. Mercedes-Benz was formed that year. Harry Houdini did his greatest act. He also died that year. NBC came about. Emperor died. What else was going on? Let's see this other place. It's in history. Yeah, everybody talks about the strike. Winnie the Pooh came out. Ford comes out with the 40-hour week. Al Capone's turf wars were going on, etc., etc. Fashion trends, roaring 20s, right? Shorter skirts and all that good stuff. Everybody was having a great time. Okay, but so I can't really find anything. I'm looking for it, and I might do some other research, but nothing really showing in some quick searches anything in particular that would stimulate so much of this literature. There's another book that came out in that same time frame, which is called the Richest Man in Babylon, which I have read. Some of these parables were taken from Middle East, ancient Babylon, and talking about how to help your financial situation, how to also see yourself as wealthy. I mean, this is in 26 that was compiled, but it's going back thousands of years, right? And this French doctor died in 26, and his writings were being known, starting to be popular. And as a matter of fact, in both the book It Works and this one Gods in Exile, he's mentioned in there because he came out with a method of powers of suggestion. Let me go back over here real quick. Stamp. All right, so I want to talk just a little bit about Dr. Emile Coué. I'll probably end up doing a review on one of his books. So he was of the idea that you could cure a lot of your ailments through autosuggestion. So self-hypnosis, basically, right? And he spent some time in the U.S. and was offering his I guess his treatments or whatnot for free, and he was having some success. And later in years, leading up to his death, he retired and whatnot. He died in 26, but his teachings were still out there. A lot of the medical community was discrediting him because they said, you know, it was quackery. It was non-scientific. It was not the preferred method or whatnot. You know, and nowadays we know that the placebo effect is actually a thing and it's effective. So I think a part of the problem that the medical industry was having, as it still does these days, is that one, he was giving away his treatment. He was treating people for free. Okay, he was teaching people how to cure themselves, basically, of a lot of I guess psychosomatic ailments. So he was teaching them to relieve themselves. So for example, people suffering from headaches and migraines. So he taught them how to auto-suggest, how to self-hypnotize themselves so their headache would go away. So now, not only you're giving away your teachings, right? You're not charging for it. The person treats themselves with their mind, and it works. So they don't have to go to the doc, and they don't have to buy pills, they don't have to buy medication to treat themselves because they did it with their own mind. So what does that mean? So you're not going to see a doc, so you're not paying the doc, you're not buying pills, you're not spending money on that, and you're giving away the method for free. Whoa, 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 whoa! We're losing money. We're losing money here. We got to discredit this guy. He's a quack. Yeah, you know, he has no idea what he's talking about, etc., etc., etc. So that happens very often. Look at Nikola Tesla, for example. Anyway, got off track. So to conclude the video, the book is called Gods in Exile. Pretty interesting, and you know, yeah, it has some ideas, some methods that, you know, I don't particularly identify with, or I don't care for. But J.T. Vanderlip, don't let anybody ever tell you, don't read that. You can't read that, or you shouldn't read this, or you shouldn't read. Why? Why not? Read it. Read anything you want to read. Read it. You know, let your mind discern. Right? We've gotten out of the habit of reading for ourselves, thinking for ourselves, having some critical skills, right? And looking at it and letting our own, I guess our own internal compass goes, this is BS, or hey, this is pretty good, or here, this one chapter, you know, let me take this is of value for me. We've gotten away from that. You know, we want people to tell us, hey, read this thing and only this thing and only believe this, or here, just use our source. We're the ones that, you know. Don't let people control you like that. Read whatever you want to read. Watch whatever you want to watch. Make, you know, open your mind, but look at it with a critical mind, right? See what resonates with you. And if you don't like it, then toss it. Pass it on to somebody else. Just because you read the book doesn't automatically mean that you're going to absorb that whole book and that's going to be you. Please. All right. Till next time. Take care.